Man, learning how to double under sucks. It's super frustrating, sometimes painful, and you might look a little bit silly at first. But here's the thing, no one cares. And if you can jump 5 centimeters high and spin your wrists at the same time, you can do them too. In this video, we are going over everything you need to unlock your double under. We are talking about the right gear, jumping fundamentals, common mistakes and how to fix them, plus easy progressions you can follow. And as a little bonus, by the end of the video, I'm going to share the exact same 4-week program I used to do to unlock my double unders. So let's get started. There's this saying that gear doesn't matter, but when it comes to double unders, I'd say it really does. And no, you don't need a 100-euro rope, but a decent one. You definitely want a speed rope, not one of those plastic ropes, they are just too slow. For beginners, a slightly heavier and longer rope is perfect. It's easier to feel the rope and the extra length gives you a little bit more forgiveness when you're out of rhythm. As you improve, you will want to switch to a lighter, shorter rope. To check the length, stand on the rope with one foot, it should just touch your armpits or nipples, like this. Before we jump into the fundamentals, let me share a quick story with you. You know, Sophie and I started CrossFit back in 2017 together, and when it came to skills, I usually could do them before her. But with double unders, completely different story. You know, Sophie grew up like jumping rope all the time, so she picked that skill up like basically from day one, and I really struggled with it, and I hated double unders. I remember trying for weeks with no real plan, no consistency, and I also was kind of afraid to look like a beginner. And let's just say I'm happy that no one got hurt. But here's the truth, as soon as I started to work consistently on them, with a real plan, like double unders felt better than single unders in just a few weeks. So what I'm trying to say over here, double unders are not necessarily a hard skill to learn. It's just about consistently showing up on a weekly basis, doing them like 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm 100% sure you can do them too. When it comes to jumping, no matter if it's a single under, double under, crossover, you want to jump up with straight and relaxed long legs. Avoid donkey kicks, pike jumps, or tucking your knees. These will just mess up your rhythm. Number 2 is that you want to keep your arms and your elbows as close to your torso as possible. When your arms flare out, it's much harder to control the rope and you will use more energy. Obviously, the rope then gets shorter and you're much more likely to trip. For number 3, you want to use your wrists and not your arms to spin the rope. And if you're not moving the rope efficient, meaning spinning your wrists quick and small movements, then you will get fatigued pretty quick. Number 4 is kind of easy to fix, but a common mistake you see, especially when starting out, your eyes should point forward, not to the floor. The problem is, usually our upper body follows our eyes, so when we look down, the upper body will follow. If we look forward, the upper body will stay in a nice and upright position, and that's exactly what we want to do when doing doubles or singles. And then number 5 is probably the hardest part for beginners, something which was holding me back quite a lot. Relax and find your rhythm. It's super easy in the beginning to rush your double unders. You're not patient enough and you're just out of rhythm. And when it comes to consistent good double unders, it's all about the rhythm. Short disclaimer over here, when it comes to double unders, I'm not a big fan of doing too many different movement or accessories, jumps and stuff, because I believe, like I just explained, double unders are all about the rhythm. And if you do too many different, then it's really hard to find your rhythm. I mean, that kind of makes sense. The first one is penguin claps. Great movement to practice your rhythm. So jump up, keeping your legs straight, and then you tap your thighs on the outside twice while jumping up. Try to find your rhythm. It's more like... Next up, we've got single unders with a slightly higher jump. So I want you guys to focus on spinning the rope a little slower than you would usually do. At the same time, you jump a little higher. Keep those legs long and relaxed. This will help you to transfer that exact same jump to your double unders as well. Next up, we've got single, double, single under. A good movement to work on your double unders for the first time.
Actually way much harder than regular double under for me.
The problem with that movement, I believe, is that if you spend too much time with it, your body will get used to that rhythm, and then it's quite hard to get rid of like those single unders in between the doubles. So as soon as you get a couple of reps with that movement, try to do 2 or 3 double unders at a time to practice this rhythm. A lot of athletes get to this point and manage to do every point I just laid out in the video, but somehow they can't progress any further. And I think this is because 2 main points. First off, there's no consistency, and the second one is they are trying to progress too fast. If you're trying to throw double unders in a workout or try to hit 100 double unders at this point, trust me, it's going to be a long road. Work on your skill. Then implement some capacity sessions, dedicate like 2 to 3 sessions a week to just working on double unders. And if you nail that, then it's time to throw double unders into a Metcon, not the other way around. In week 1, we are doing 10 sets of 20 seconds on, followed by 40 seconds of rest. The goal is to pick a number you can hit over all 10 sets. Let's say 5. As soon as you get to 5, you rest. You can't manage to hit 5 within the 20-second window, then you still stop at the 20-second mark. It's super crucial that you don't overdo it here. To learn a new skill, we need to keep the heart rate low, otherwise you will mess up anyways. The goal of the session is to complete the same reps over all 10 sets. Done that, then slightly increase the reps from session to session. So session number 2 could be 7 reps or 8 reps per minute. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's still 20 to 30 reps more over the whole session. And let me say this, it's completely normal that you will have good and bad sessions. Usually it's 1 step back, 2 step forwards. Just keep on going. And then you just follow the same concept until you can hit all 10 sets of 20 seconds unbroken. Sounds like a lot? It is. It's probably like 40 reps over 10 sets, so 400 reps in total. But I promise you, maybe not in 4 weeks, but eventually you will get there. After that, you increase the work domain to 25 seconds and rest 35, and then finally to 30 seconds on, followed by 30 seconds of rest. I think if you are at that point, you are more than welcome to implement your double unders into workouts as well. First up, when you trip, it's gonna happen quite a lot, then you wanna stay calm. It's easy to say, I know, but when you get frustrated, when you get mad at yourself or like throw your rope around, it doesn't help and it usually gets downhill from here. Next up, I believe this is the most common mistake not only beginners athletes do. It's always going for big sets. Yes, you can get a lot of reps done in a short time domain, but the problem with that is that usually it spikes your heart rate and you need more rest in between your sets. I believe the better way to do it, and usually also the faster way, in the long term at least, is to go for smaller sets with short rest in between. Because a lot of times those athletes who start out with 100 reps unbroken, they trip at some point and have to do smaller sets because they are gassed out. And this is where you are catching up with them with your smaller sets and short rest in between. It also makes everything else a little bit easier. And the last thing I want to share with you is your breathing. I talked a lot about heart rate through the roof, smaller sets with short rest, but to be honest, it's completely normal that you will have a hard time in the beginning to keep your heart rate low. That's like with every skill, it's hard to bring everything together. Your brain has to work a little bit more. You're a little bit stiff, you can't really relax. But as you do them more often, as you get more consistent with them, your movements will get more effortless. And that should be the goal. Try to work on them 1, 2, or 3 times a week. Don't overdo it, but then your double unders will get better fairly quick. Alright team, that's it for our double under guide. I hope this video will help you to crush your double unders in under 30 days. Make sure to check out the full workout template in the description down below. And if you found the video helpful, I would appreciate if you give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and then catch you in the next one.